Let's get ready to rumble!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tattoos, Code, and Data Flows. Super happy to have everybody on the podcast today. We're going to flip it up a little, change it up, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to be the one interviewing myself today. So I think a lot of people have seen a lot of the guests that I've had on over, the past 6-7 months on the podcast episodes. So I thought maybe we'll just, let Matt talk for a while and have my opinion so people can kind of see my side of the story of a lot of the things. So we're going to jump in and just kind of go over the format in a not a structured way, but more of a way in kind of conversationally, if you will. So to get in, again, if you don't know me, I'm Matt Rose, Chief Architect at Bionic. I've been in this AppSec world going on 18, 19 years, seen a lot of changes, held a lot of roles, everywhere from sales roles to technical roles to, everywhere in between. And just learned a lot and learned from a lot of great people. The first thing, we always start with this thinking out loud section is what goes through my head on a daily basis. Well, seeing the kind of evolution of application security, cybersecurity over the years, the thing that really goes through my head on a day-to-day basis is we're still doing the same things. We're still trying to solve the same problems. I know I have for, whatever it is, 18 years in application security. Before my development, before that, it was my development career. So trying to think about ways to work better and smarter. I always think that we're kind of chasing our tail in terms of application security risk, and we're looking more at the problem rather than a solution, or a solution that can be put in place that's holistic and effective, rather than just pointing and shooting at each individual vulnerability, if you will. So that's really what I think about. When I think about how to basically disseminate the huge amount of information that we're getting from all the tooling, all the consultants, all the consulting engagements with standards like BSIM and OpenSAM, how do we make that better? How do we make that more palatable, easy to understand for an organization to face risk? So that's kind of what's top of mind. As we move into, kind of another one of these sessions is the Rant Session, is I get annoyed when people start to use a phrase over and over again. This can be in personal world, in cybersecurity world, and as you've seen in some of my Bionic Uncensored videos and my podcast, that people are really focused on, a word and using that word as much as possible, almost too much to really describe something. And a lot of times they don't really even know the definition of the word itself. So I ask a lot of questions about DevOps or DevSecOps or shift left or agile or, CI/CD effectiveness. What you really need to think about is it's not about the word, it's about the process and about being consistent and repeatable in terms of fixing issues. Just by throwing a word in front of an acronym doesn't really make you much more secure. You have to think about how to do this in a way that's much more effective than just, copying everybody else that's using the newest term or phrase. So that's kind of my little rant session, that we need to really, understand what we're talking about rather than having, just the same opinion on everything. If I was to come up with a Nirvana world, I would really help people understand automation and integration. So I think that cybersecurity is not going away anytime soon. It's going to be a problem that's going to be here forever. It's like death and taxes and hacking of your applications. So thinking about integration and automation of all your tooling in a way that's consistent. A lot of people say, oh yeah, we have an API. We can integrate our SAST solution or our DAS solution or our ASPM solution. But every time you do it, it's like you start from zero. A lot of times it needs to be consistent and understood. And I think as an industry, we have to be better at integrating and automating in a consistent way, in a way that's, not like we're reinventing the wheel every time we go to roll out application security products. Because if a solution is not does not have the capability to be integrated and automated into a modern CI/CD pipeline, it's never going to work. It's just never going to work. It's not going to scale. So, thinking about creating a new AppSec scanning solution or cybersecurity solution out there, all the smart people that are coming out with these great products, I would approach it not from a problem statement, but from the best way, operationalization statement. Make sure that it's easy to integrate and automate into the pipeline, and then it'll be more likely that the results, no matter what they are, code issues, runtime environment issues, API issues, the results will be consumed much easier if it's easy to implement. I have a lot of experience in this where, I worked for some static analysis vendors over my career, and complicated static analysis solutions became shelfware, or SAST solutions became shelfware. It doesn't matter if the results are great. If it was way too complicated to get the results, then people would just ignore it. It would be too much effort, and they'd push back, and it'd create a contentious environment. So I really think that having an easy way to integrate and automate into your CI/CD pipeline is a huge benefit, and something that is paramount in terms of the success of a product for a major organization. In terms of a lot of those terms, I always do like a speed round session, where it's a back and forth question. I really think that we need to be better, and this is about not overstating a lot of things. So, everyone wants to put a new acronym on something, and it's not accurate as a technology unless there's a fancy acronym. My question is, are we all about naming things, about finding things, or are we about remediating risk? Having risk remediated by an organization is the goal, not just finding things or saying we bought the latest greatness, analyst solution. We need to be more prescriptive in terms of how we take a finding, quantify or qualify that finding as something you need to fix, and then drive that through a remediation cycle. Because just finding something doesn't mean you're any more secure. And mapping that to a security policy that is kind of, I don't know, what's the best way to put this? Kind of mimics the risk that your organization's facing. So don't care about things that are not applicable to your applications or to your customers. Make a security policy that looks for 5 to 10 to 15 type things as a starting point, and always adjust based on real world data. And that's why I'm very passionate about application security posture management these days, is because I feel like that insight that ASPM brings to the table really provides a great starting point and provides insight to all the solutions out there. What does my application truly look like? What are all the services in my application? How do they communicate? What's upstream? What's downstream? What third parties is it talking to? Where's the data in my databases? So going down the path of finding issues in one silo or one piece of the pie or piece of the puzzle doesn't help you become more secure on the entire ecosystem type perspective. So focus on understanding the whole application, not just a slice. Yes, there are things that are unique to a certain slice, but again, you're going to miss things if you don't look at the whole architecture with an effective integrated and automated solution. Some of the other things that I like to think about, especially as ASPM goes in this world, new technologies are coming out daily. There's a ton of great companies. I was at RSA a few weeks ago. I know I'm probably dating the podcast by saying this, but don't really care. There's a turnover every 3 to 5 years in the vendors. And you're actually seeing like a vendor in a smaller area, and then a bigger area, and then a really big area, and then they're in that biggest area for a long time, and then all of a sudden they disappear because they're acquired or something like that. So as you think about the kind of evolution of all of these technologies, whether it's a SaaS product, a DaaS product, API security scanning solutions are hot now, software composition analysis solutions are hot. Why are they constantly evolving, if you will? Why do these new technologies or new approaches come out? Because the problem's not going away. Cybersecurity issues and remediation of issues is not going away. And if SAST was the stalwart or best case, best of breed type of solution, you'd never need ASPM, or you'd never need API security scanning or software composition analysis. Same thing with DAST. DAST even predates SaaS solutions. So as you kind of think about the evolution, is why are we constantly moving down the path? Because we haven't found that nirvana. I know I like in my podcast like to use nirvana in the nirvana world section, but I really think that we're constantly trying to catch up with the way software is developed and the risk that changes in the way software is developed. These risks have always been there in code. Sometimes people, didn't understand them or didn't know what to look for, but there's always been risks in applications, and there's no such thing as a completely secure application. So with that in mind, don't spin your wheels trying to get to a completely secure application. Mitigate the risk that is most important to you across the board. Because I really think that's the way you approach risk, is identify what concerns you and then fix the things that concern you, and don't just create lists and lists of data. Hopefully that was insightful, kind of a off the cuff fireside chat today, but I want to just throw some ideas out there. Appreciate everybody watching the podcast episodes. We'll have a new guest out next week. But with that, have a wonderful day and stay cheeky, application security world.